Hello, this is Crypto CJ. Welcome to today's trade of the day. It's Friday afternoon Zoom edition. And I've got a nice little group here. Nobody new. Looks like got some of our usual suspects. So anyway, Bitcoin has just started to do something a little bit interesting. So let's look at that. All right, you guys see my 5-minute Bitcoin chart?
Yes.
All right, good. So it was just snoozing in this range most of the day, and then had this pump right here shortly before we got started today. So I'm very curious to see if this holds or if this is a fake out.
Wow.
Let's go to my day chart. Again, this hasn't really changed much. We've been hanging around this lower point of the overall trend for quite a while. Bitcoin just has not been able to punch up and work its way higher. Go to the 4-hour chart. We did break through this trend line from I think a week or two ago. I drew a new one in green. So we've got this ascending triangle. We'll see if Bitcoin, well, it won't be this weekend, but it could be. But it'll have to make a decision, by the end of next week or middle of next week. It is working its way up today. We had a similar move last weekend over July 4th. Yeah, it pumped all the way up here, to nearly 36 on the 4th in the morning, and then dropped like a rock. To this range here. I want to see how far that was. Yeah, and then dropped about 7.5%. So it might happen again this weekend. We might get this pump up, up to the high 30s, mid to high 30s, and then another drop. I don't know, but that's sort of what I'm preparing for. I did have some nervous trading last weekend. I was in a short position that I got into probably in this range here. Yeah, actually it was here. So it's on Friday or Saturday, and it shot up here, and I was worried. I did a couple ladder buys on shorts, which I haven't done that much before. But then when it crashed down, I was in good shape. So anyway, I've got a smaller, short on Bitcoin now. I had set, instead of a low buy order, sort of a high buy order at 33.9. I just grabbed it, about half hour ago. So I've got 2 small positions on a short, and I'll probably try to find a good entry on a long position too. I like straddling that sometimes. Have one hit at one point, have one hit at another. I've done that in the past with leverage tokens too. We've talked about those before. I'm discouraging the Binance ones for now, but they're on FTX, and I don't recall the other exchange. But if you want to try to short something, you should be really comfortable in your spot trading before you do anything like that, though. All right, any questions on Bitcoin?
So are you trading Bitcoin now for short-term gains, or are you trading it trying to put more into your long-term holding of Bitcoin?
The former. I have a to-do list item. I'm a little superstitious too. This probably isn't really a teaching moment, but Bitcoin pumped a little bit yesterday when I was in a short position. So I'll stop this by buying a Bitcoin short position, and sure enough, 5 minutes after I bought it, it went back down. So
you need to text us when you do that.
I know. I've actually put it in the Slack group before. A couple times, and like Cheryl T and some of the others who know me, thanks CJ for taking one for the team, but eventually it pans out. So anyway, I'm going to look at Ethereum too. That's why I did this. Need to upgrade or update my fibs. So Ethereum on the 4-hour has had a nice run up till a couple days ago. I thought I was going to push 2,500 again. I've got 2 positions in Ethereum and a swing trade. I'm looking to get out like right around up here, but doesn't look like it's going to cooperate right away. Had this big drop, and you know, working its way back up a little bit. We do have some pretty good support here. I was thinking more around 1,800. And then the more recent drops, 2000's held, you know, pretty nicely. So that seems to be the floor in the short term for Ethereum. Okay, any questions on Bitcoin and Ethereum before we move on to Altcoin Alert? Let's look at Bitcoin dominance too. Yeah, not a significant difference. It's been in the mid to high 40s last several weeks. All right, then we will look at Altcoin Alert. I'm going to refresh. And yeah, these are all coins I've traded recently. So I like to see them in the top, you know, 5. I'd rather see the values above 90. That's when I tend to take them a little more seriously. I traded Axis a couple times in the last couple of weeks. I traded Rune yesterday on some leverage stuff. Same with DOGE, actually today. And then I've got a position in comp on a spot trade. So you know, these 4 I think are all have pretty good potential. I don't know what the weekend holds in the short term. You know, we just talked about it, but you know, for the next few days, you know, these are all coins I think look pretty good. Let's look at Axis. I was looking at this before. It had a nice pump with the Bitcoin pump we just talked about. Day chart. This concerns me, is it's at an all-time high. So, you know, be really cautious when you're trading something here. On the hour, you know, it pumped a couple days ago, dropped, and then it's going back to where it was. There might be some room in a retrace to get back 2 to 5%. I think that's not enough for this you know, this risky of a trade. So I don't like it at these levels. Looking at the 5-minute chart where I would want to enter, if it retraces down to this support right here, I might like it. So we got support here, and another area of support here. And finally, we've got some here. So got on the 5-minute chart, you know, 11.6, you know, 12.6, and about 13.9 are support areas. Probably set an alert here with a ladder buy here and here if necessary. So, but overall, you know, I don't want to buy it here. Yeah. No. It's hard to draw with a mouse, or write with a mouse. All right, any questions on Access before we look at some other coins? All right, let's see what else altcoin has. Rune, Thorchain. I was trading this yesterday. Let's check the day chart, get the big picture. This looks like most of the coins we've looked at in the last few weeks. Big pump in May, got crushed by the May 19th drop. Yeah, down 70% in 5 days, and really hasn't recovered. 77%. Yeah, it's still down 70% since the May dump. On the plus side, it has room to move. It's trending down hard on the hour. Slight, not quite higher highs yet, but definitely we have a trading range on this one. The 5-minute chart, again, it just caught that pump that Bitcoin took. I think it's too high to buy now. But again, in these support areas, you know, set your alerts and you know, I'd say make a first buy here, second buy here if necessary. See what happens over the weekend. So, any questions on Rune? Okay. And then Doge. Got Doge up here. Working with some new indicators I'm tinkering with. That's a 5-minute chart. Well, let's look at the day chart. I like Doge in the short term to trade because it's usually pretty volatile. But obviously, as a project to hold, not that interested in that. Big pump in May, down 70%, and really hasn't recovered. So last hour, big dump here, came back pretty strong. Another dip, and then working its way back up. It's been hanging around mostly 20, 24, between 20 and 24 cents last few days. Then on the 5-minute, didn't really do much with that Bitcoin pump. So it's higher than I would like. Actually, I don't have Bollinger Band. Are these Bollinger Bands? No, I don't have different Bollinger Bands than usual on this chart. Anyway, a little bit too squeezy for me and above the SMA. Might have to short this one later. Yeah, let's look at a different chart. I'm not liking this one. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same. Kind of squeezy here. Don't see an immediate entry point. If you want to go long on Doge, I'd probably do so. Set an alert down here around 20 cents and see if it can recover from that. All right. And then Compound. Had a nice run up with the Bitcoin pump we just had. This one's shown signs of life again. Had the pretty big drop that the other ones had. You know, 70%. It's come up here, then a little dip here. So we had some really nice recovery action on comp. I think they talked about this in the CryptNation call yesterday. It has been drifting down last couple days. Looks like it's starting to come back up. 5-minute entry. Again, too high to do anything with now. Sitting on top of the Bollinger Band, don't like that. No real quick retrace to use as an exit. So I'd be looking for a dip. And there's usually a dip of some kind in the weekend, more often than not. So another thing you can do is you can draw a trend line on like the 4-hour, the 1-hour charts, like this. And put an alert on here. Right click, alert on trend line, crossing. crossing up. Only once. You can put it once per bar close if you want to keep it continuous. Like if it zigzags over it, if you want to know each time it goes off. For this one, I probably just do only once. And if it pumps up above this and closes, I think I put once per bar close on the 4-hour chart, that tells me that you might be trending up. So I've been using these kind of trend lines more lately. This is something that Sheldon the Sniper teaches on the Crypto Banter show, as I've talked about that one before. A couple of South African gentlemen who do their show early in the morning. If you watch my video, my daily routine, that's one of the things I usually look at, sometime during the day. Okay.
What are some of the other indicators you tend to use in your arms most frequently?
The ones you see ahead right here are the ones I've used the most. So that's going to be, the RSI and the MACD. And I've done videos before about how I set alerts in the RSI to let me know about potential 1, 2, 3 dips. I suggest if you're interested in that, do that in the 15-minute chart. You can see like that would have gone off here at 6 p.m. On yesterday, had you done that alarm. And at 6 p.m. yesterday, we had this, sorry, this dip sequence here. 1, 2, 3. So that worked out nearly perfectly. The alert goes off at 6 p.m. and you're towards the tail end of a 1, 2, 3 dip. Get in here. You got 5% to the SMA line, and you're out of that trade in 4 hours. So that's one of my favorite alerts to do. I'm doing more now with some more advanced things with bullish and bearish divergence and things like that are kind of beyond the scope of this call, but that alert on the RSI I think is good stuff. You have to do additional TA afterwards, but I find that that can be a really good an indicator and an alert. I'm looking for indicators that I can put alerts on, and I have narrowed down quite a bit the coins I follow during the day. It's usually only about 4, 3 to 5, but usually 4. Because it used to be like 30. I'd have alerts going off all the time, and it was too much. So now I use I pick 4 coins using Altcoin Alert and another program I like. And sometimes I'll if I can't find what I'm looking for between those 2 things, I will just do a quick search on one of my lists. So
You ever put alerts on the MACD?
no.
Can you do that, like the crossing?
I think you can. I'd be winging it because the RSI does pretty much
that's fine.
the same, because the RSI will show you like strength and momentum, or MACD will show, because it's just easier to do the RSI, and then on the then I look at the MACD to see if it's crossing. So
yeah. Well, the crossing seems to sort of line up with it, so you only need to alert on one of them.
I'd like to make a note about the Bollinger Bands. They're set for 50. That means it's looking at the past over 50 days. 50 days ago was May 20th, and on May 23rd was the end of the Bitcoin drop. So I expect these Bollinger Bands to be much more favorable here in a few days.
Well, I think that's accurate for the day chart. So if I'm on a day chart, the 50, you know, the SMA is going to be for 50 days. If I'm on an hour chart, I think it's for 50 hours. Was my understanding. It's 50 of the amount of time that you're looking at. Because like, for example, Bryce and CryptNation uses the 8-hour chart a lot. You know, so the SMA would be would be 50 periods of time times 8. You know, 50 8-hour periods of time. I think that's how that works. So it depends on what chart you're looking at, but what you said is certainly accurate for the day chart, which is what a lot of traders look for in swing trades. You see me look at the day chart a lot of times just to get the overall picture, but I don't use it much to make decisions as far as day trading goes. All right, I want to do maybe one more sort on Altcoin Alert. Been using the Elder Impulse sort. And we're looking for bullish on the daily and then bullish on the long-term sentiment. And Axis has both, and a very, very bullish here, fire. Yeah, this looks good on pretty much all the indicators. I just think it's a little too high right now. It's up 32%. So I would look for a dip on this, but otherwise, I like what this one's doing. Not financial advice, but I have traded this one a couple times, and we already looked at it. So we've got Kava, bullish and very bullish, bearish on the short term and the hourly. So this tells me this is a little longer time frame. Could be a couple days before this one moves. I'm already in Kava on a swing trade. Let's give it a look. Yeah. So it's a day trade, it's too high. I would look for a dip. Like we talked about with the other ones on more of a swing trade. I think Bryce put out an email on this earlier in the week, yesterday, the day before, on the hour. Yeah, I like it to return to this area here, just below $5. So if you bought it now, as it's trending up, you're looking at 10%. That's a pretty good swing trade over a few days. A little beyond the scope of what I usually talk about in my videos, but if I'm doing a swing trade that I plan to be in for a few days or a few weeks, I'm less concerned about a real precise entry point. I'm looking for overall movement. Like this one's been trending up, dipping down, then trending up again. So, but I'm really not qualified to teach about swing trades because I don't do it a whole lot. So, but that's just how I view that particular opportunity.
Could you go back to the day chart for a second?
Okay.
Okay.
And you have a question?
Not specifically. I just wanted to see where we were, and I see we're at the top of your blue box of interest there.
Right. So, you heard if you were on the call on Thursday, Bryce talked a little bit about Fibonacci retracements and how he doesn't. I've got him on most of the coins that I like to trade, and Kava is one of those coins. So it's right now in the sweet spot between the 5.0 and the 618. So it's essentially halfway between. You don't have to be that complicated about it. It's roughly halfway between the high and the low this calendar year.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I didn't have really a specific. I was just kind of looking to see where the longer picture was than the chart before this one.
So if you don't want to look up all these things, you know,
Just cut it in half.
that's it. That's what I was gonna say. This it corresponds to this. You can see how all the lines are in here and correspond to these levels. But yeah, just like John said, halfway. I'll buy it halfway between, this calendar year. And it just happens to work out that it's this calendar year. Some of my fibs go back to like December, November. And then you can do them, obviously you can do them on a smaller scale here. Like this one here, and then draw them, from there, but it's kind of a mess now.
Mhm. So you're in a Kava trade right now?
Right, I'm a little higher than
Not a
this.
day trade, but
460.
swing trade.
Yeah, it's more of a swing trade.
So
So.
what are you looking for?
I'm looking forward to get back up here.
Okay. The resistance on that before this
Yeah.
fall. Okay,
All right. Well,
thanks.
let's see if there's any other sorts that we can play with on Altcoin Alert. Trading activity is one I like to do. Obviously, we're going to have some duplication. Access is in here. Again, stacks is in here, but it's bearish. I'm looking for at least neutral on an AA score when I use the trading activity sort. I haven't used this one as much lately because the AA scores have improved, and I prefer the Elder Impulse sort over this one. Most of these have bearish signals. Mana, fire on trading, socials normal. Usually hoping for 5% or better on this. We're pretty close. Neutral, bullish short term. Mana I traded yesterday. Had a quick like 0.8% and got out. So let's look at that one real quick. All right, this is the day chart. Let's see, this high was back in April. Lost the seemingly 70% and all the other ones have lost. Has been working its way up. So I like that. 1 hour was pumping nicely, dropped some yesterday, coming back today like that. 5-minute chart, way too high. Yeah, I don't want to buy it here. I'd say look for a retrace here to 64.22 area, and then maybe a ladder buy here at 60 if necessary. So, but this one looks like it's coming back. Again, weekends are a crapshoot, I think, so I'm really picky about what I do. And to be candid, I probably am only right about 60% of the time on weekends. I end up having to ladder buy or do some sort of an adjustment on Monday and Tuesday to get out of something I do on the weekend. So I've adjusted my personal schedule on usually Saturday and Sunday. I look at things for about an hour, set a couple alerts, and then go about my day. So, all right, so that's all I have for, Altcoin Alert, and it's the AA scores and the various sorts that I like to use. Does anybody have any questions about what you've seen on Altcoin Alert?
Have you ever traded Constellation, DAG?
I traded it once, didn't do well. It's on a different exchange than I usually use.
Yeah.
So I haven't really done so since. Yeah, it's on KuCoin. I think I was
It's
in a
one of the
Bitcoin.
few things that seem to have jumped a whole lot with Bitcoin jump today,
Yeah.
or that I could see. I'm sure there's plenty of things I didn't see.
Yeah, it's had a nice move. 5-minute chart. So from 9 this morning, we're up. Let's start back here. Yeah, 24% move. Gotta like that. It's given a lot of that back. You know, so we're up 16% now. So might be too late for this one, or
Yeah.
maybe it's just, you know, some people's taking profit and it'll work its way back up. All-time high though. Oh, this one's been around a while, I think. No, maybe not. November 19. I mean, that's long for most coins, but you know, not 10 years. Yeah, I would trade this if I were on KuCoin much, you know, like the others. I would look for, it's sort of retraced already to some support. Might want to have it, see if it's going to go through a dip sequence and punch through the lower part of the Bollinger Band.
Mhm.
All right. Any other coins you guys want to look at? All right. Any questions on or issues on crypto in general?
Yeah, I've got a general question.
Okay.
So when you're doing all this ladder buying, you have so many different positions. What do you use to track all these? Are you just in a spreadsheet, or is there an easy program that you could plug all these into?
If you're ladder buying, yeah, you do need to track it. So, you know, I do have a spreadsheet. Most of you are in here are probably at least familiar with iCoin Pro. They have their full service option has like a database where you can enter and calculate, you know, where to best do that. I think that's overkill, at least at my experience level. And I prefer to use, you know, resistance and support to determine where I ladder buy. So I don't use that particular program. Don't think it's necessary, but when I first started, I used it and it was helpful then. But yeah, you write it down and then you have to calculate where you're going to get out, at least with some profit or break even. You know, obviously if you have two positions, you know, let's say you bought here, you know, and then it goes down and you buy again here, you know, your take profit's going to be, assuming you use the same amount of money on both, it's going to be a little bit above halfway between. Now, if you use more money on your on your ladder buy position, then, you know, you can get out a little sooner. So, but yeah, ladder buying is an alternative to stop losses. We talked quite a bit about it on Monday, for those guys who were here. But you know, it has some risks as well. It works better in a bull market. You know, in a bear market, it's better to use tighter entries, and then maybe do two, and if that doesn't work, then get out and take the loss. So as a trader, my worst my worst trades have been holding on to those too long. So at some point, if it just keeps dropping, you don't want to put any more money into it, and then you're stuck. So you either, you know, take the loss or hold it for, you know, sometimes months. I mean, I had a few that I was into on May 19th, and that drop happened, and those were some pretty hideous losses I had to take. So it's not a perfect strategy, but most of the time it's worked out for me.
It's interesting that Bitcoin has gone up 2% since 3 o'clock today. Past history shows us that everything goes down pretty much after 5 o'clock on a Friday. So right now it's 7:30 in the morning in Tokyo. So why is Bitcoin going up?
I don't know. It seems to, last weekend it had a pump and a dump too. So I'm skeptical. I think it's a fake out, but maybe this is the beginning of the return to 50,000. Who knows? It just seems an odd time to do it. So I don't have an answer to your question, Patrick, but we can look at Bitcoin, see if there's any news. This is the news button here on TradingView. Most of it's about other coins. And these are, headlines from a few hours ago. Don't think they would have affected what's going on now. So could be one of those random pumps. A couple whales get together and say, let's pump it. We'll dump it later. Or like I said earlier, maybe this is the beginning of the return to 50K. Who knows? We can entertain any other theories on the 2% pump for Bitcoin this afternoon. Anybody else want to chime in?
The longer I'm around this, the more I figure out that you can't know.
Yeah.
All you can do is look at the candles and see what's happened and go from there.
Yeah.
Because every theory I hear, you can find an opposite theory. I don't think anybody knows for sure.
No.
When I'm a whale, I'll tell you.
All right. Looking forward to hearing from John the Whale. So.
There you go.
All right, guys. Anything else you want to talk
Could we
about?
look at one more? Could we look at the keep chart, please? I'm just curious on your take on this. I asked you about this,
Robert.
I know. Well, I made the classic beginner mistake, and now I'm sitting in the basement on it, holding it.
You're keeping it.
I'm keeping it.
Keeping the keep.
But like I wrote to you, it did go up 34% one day this week, and then it gave most of that back.
Yeah, we had that pump here, 55% in a day and a half on the hour chart. And then,
Unfortunately, I got into this at 42 cents, which seemed like a good price at the time. And now I'm debating if it's worth doing a ladder buy at some point or not. I'd have to put in a decent amount of money to make it worthwhile.
yeah, I have ladder bought some swing trades, but that was really more of a, as Bryce calls it, building a position. I knew I put a small order in on some of the basic, blue chip altcoins like Link and DOT and those kind of things, after some of the hijinks we've had the last few weeks, and then added to those positions. And, considering the two positions, they look pretty good. Not quite profitable, but, we'll see. As far as your keep situation at 42 cents, it's at 28 now. If you believe in the project, you don't mind holding it for a while, then
yeah, I don't
mind.
Yeah,
I don't see any problem with, going in, if you have between 28 and 42 cents, 49%, your halfway is right about here. 35, it did hit 35 recently.
Right.
So it's not, it's reasonable that it would return at that, that place some point. So yeah, if it's not a financial burden on you, I don't see any problem with taking another position there. And then maybe setting an alert, down at 20 or something like that. Maybe go for a third position there if it drops. Are you looking just to get out of this, or are you trying to hold it and make 100% or something in between?
Well, originally I was hoping to get out of it at around 58.
Okay.
And it did hit 58 the day I bought it, but it was so fast I couldn't even get out of it. It was so quick that it hit
42 to 58 is really
and dropped
good.
right back down.
Um,
Yeah, I know, but it was so fast, and I just wasn't on it at the time.
Well,
It
if
did
you
what I was
bought,
hoping it would do.
you know, if you bought at 28 and got out at 42, you'd break even on the 42 position. You have 48% on your current position, so that's a 24% profit between the two. That's pretty good, unless it takes a year. But if you get
Right.
that in a week or two, I view that as a
Yeah.
successful trade. So yeah,
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. All right. Any other? I got one more. I got a
Everybody
chat.
open their chat window before
All
we
right.
log off. I got this money show program in the mail, and one of the speakers is the Fibonacci Queen.
Mm,
So CJ, you have a counterpart.
yeah.
And so the information is there. I just thought it was interesting that somebody calls herself the Fibonacci Queen.
Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't heard of her before. I saw your email today. There's also Fibonacci Lee, who's a guest on the Crypto Banter show. He teaches about Fibonacci retracements as well. So from the email you sent, that it looked like she was more into stocks and things like that. I mean, you can still use that kind of technical analysis and learn from it. So if you guys are interested in the Fibonacci retracement training, you might want to check that out. I also have a 12-minute video on it. So you search, Crypto CJ Fibonacci, you can find that. I try to keep it short and simple. There's a lot more to it than what I do in my videos. So I talk about retracements a lot, and the fibs aren't really that relevant in day trading, so I don't talk about it a whole lot in these videos. But for longer term trading, I think they can be valuable. So, all right. Any other questions or comments? Well, guys, then you have a good weekend, and I'll see all or most of you on Monday. Bye.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.